Tankers, welcome back to my videos. Today we are going over the T-54 Mod 1, the Soviet Tier 8 medium tank. Now I'll start with the statistics of this tank, and I will tell you about the armor profile and get into some ace tanker gameplays. So starting off, the main armor of the turret is 180 on the front, 120 on the sides, and 75 on the rear. And the hull is 120 on the front, 90 on the sides, and 45 on the rear. Now, 120 does not sound like a lot on paper, but I will put a little clip of the armor up in the left top part of the screen, which you can see now, where you can actually see that 120 millimeters of armor actually angles up to about 214 millimeters thick. And when angling, can get it up to about 220 at very steep parts. The lower plate is about 180, so it is a bit weaker. Most AP rounds on Tier 8s can go through. Tier 7s will still have a tough time, and most medium tanks will really have a tough time penetrating this tank. And as you can see, the turret is pretty much impenetrable on the sides, and you can penetrate right next to the gun, which is about 180 thick, which it does say. So that is the stats of this tank. Now, the view range is 302 meters, which is pretty decent. It's not amazing, but it is there. The concealment is actually very good because this tank is Russian. It is so low down, it does have a very nice concealment, even while moving. However, the damage per minute is not the best, only about 2,100. The T-54 has more damage per minute, I think around 2,500. The reload time is 8 seconds even, and the penetration is only 175 on your AP round, so it is not a very high penetration tank. The armor-piercing composite rigid, however, has 235 millimeters penetration, which is very, very healthy. So you'll pretty much be able to penetrate any tank that you can't penetrate with your AP. Now, the APCR damage does go down to 240, but it doesn't really drop much. It only drops 40 alpha. So really running APCR doesn't hurt you that much in the long run with this tank. The high explosive penetration is 50, and it deals 350 damage, which is very nice. The aiming time is a bit bad at 4.2 seconds. It's not the worst, but it's not the best. Dispersion is actually pretty good for a Russian medium, being 0.301. That's actually pretty good in general, just for any tank in the game. The depression of this tank, however, really sucks, only 5 degrees. So you really can't work ridge lines or hills very well. You're going to have to get to a flat spot where there's a bit of bumps to hide your lower hull and just use your turret. This tank also works very well at doing hull down. Now, the top speed forwards is not very quick, it's only 44, and its reverse speed is only 18, so this is also not a super quick tank. As you'll see driving it, its average speed is only 32, as you can see. So really, it doesn't go super quick, but again, it has that amazing armor. And one thing most people don't know about this tank is it actually has 70 degrees a second hull traverse speed, which is insane. And adding that with the 58.32 degrees of turret traverse, this tank can pretty much turn its turret and hull on a dime and be able to aim at anything in the game that's trying to flank it. So if you didn't know that, do not try and flank a Mod 1. The terrain crossing capacity is pretty good, 110 on road, 92 on ground, and 74 on water, and this tank has 572 horsepower, which is decent. I will say real quick before I get into the battle, I would not suggest to buy the tank with the legendary camo. That is up to you, but as you can see here, I really don't like the look of this camo. I feel that if you were to buy the much cheaper option, I'm not sure if this is still in the store, but I do like the look of this camouflage much better than the legendary. And it only changes the name to Origin, so it's not very special. But now we'll get stuck into the first replay. The first map is Oasis, and I am going to be pushing medium. After I took a look at their tanks, I saw that they had a Batchat and a T-54, along with an AMX 5100. So I thought they were actually going to push medium and have their tank destroyer sit in the bushes in the back and cover them, but you'll see that it actually turns out that they push the heavy side for some reason, which does not go very well for them in the long run, because this side just has a much better advantage over the town when it comes to sniping. You have dunes, you have plenty of area to back up, plenty of area to hide. It's just much better. Um, you can see already I'm aiming at that T-28 Defender. First couple shots here, the replay sort of messed up. I rechecked over it just to make sure. So the shots that are hitting those tanks were actually fully aimed in. It's just messing up on the replay. Um, but we are putting the pressure on all of the tanks. We've already fired all 3 shells into 3 different tanks. Really just hurting them, and you can see this armor will be working very strong, and it does hold up quite a bit in this game, which is always nice. The accuracy, as you can see, is very nice. It is slamming shell after shell right into that T-28 Defender's top. He really can't do much about it. And I am noticing that my team is being very badly rushed over on the other side, so I wanted to go and support them. But that ISU got spotted again, and I snapped another shell in him, so that is a good start to the battle. We've already racked up 1,300 damage and cleared off the ISU, which is my biggest threat. That tank can penetrate me pretty much anywhere and any way he can possibly shoot at, even probably right through my turret if he wanted. Load an APCR round and slam that shell through the cheek of the T-28 Defender. And I saw my IS-5 was pushing on him. I just wanted to sneak one more shell into this T-28 Defender to rack up a teeny bit more damage, which I did. And now I am going to be making the last move, probably of the game for me. I sort of got myself screwed in this situation here, as you will see. The IS-8 pulled out there, and I snapped the shell into him. Unfortunately, I lost almost half of my hit points just by doing that one move there. Now, this IS-8 is a one-shot, and he does end up dying, but unfortunately, this T-54 is at full health, and he is going to push on me. Now, the T-54 is the best player, and you will see that. However, the T-54 was not the biggest threat. It was actually the low on their team, which you will see. You can see, though, that this tank is penetrating pretty much all the shells. I'm still sorry about the replay messing up. I don't know why it's doing that. So all these weird looking shells is just the replay messing up. But you can see that that low is really killing me. He is pushing out, and he is pretty much the reason I do die, unfortunately, is because he pulls out there. If the low was not there, we probably could have taken down that T-54 and managed to pull off that game. Now, we do have a WT on our team and a IS-5, and I will say that this tank is actually a very strong tank. I would suggest to buy it. It's super cheap right now. I think it's, 8,500 gold without the camo. That's super cheap. It's pretty much the same price as a tech tree tank like the T-34, not an actual tech tree tank for credits. And just how overpowered the tank's armor profile is, I would really suggest to go for it. Because you can see this game, I pulled off 3,265 damage, and I literally just played, 5 games in a row in this tank, and that's one of the games I managed to come out with. So I really do think this is a very nice tank. We only blocked 710 damage that game, unfortunately. The nice thing is, since this is a premium tank, and you do need to shoot a lot of APCR rounds to penetrate your enemies when you play Tier 9, you still make credits. You can see I made 34,000, and I wasn't running premium. I would have gained an extra 40,000, 50,000 if I was, so I probably would have came with 80,000, 70,000 plus credits in this game, which would have been very nice, and we did do 3,200 damage. This was a very nice game just in total, and we did help out our team. So this is a very also good support tank, but I'll pull up the second replay. Now, the second replay is actually on Vineyards. I didn't expect to get a mastery on this map. This is a very tough map to run mediums on, especially ones that don't have a lot of gun depression. It's just because you really can't work any of the ridge lines or any of the very angled bushes. You have to be flat, and you can't really contest the cap circle. So it's really hard in this map to do very well in mediums. Heavy tanks do perform very well if they go over to the heavy tank corner, and tank destroyers can pretty much just go wherever they want and do pretty well. But mediums, if you do have trouble on this map, it's not just you. This is a very hard map to run in Blitz. Now I'm going to be pushing into this bush, and I'm actually going to stay right behind the bush because I'm not very scared of people. Even if they blind shot the bush, I don't think they'll be able to penetrate me. Now again, these shots are still funky. I don't know why the replays are messing up right now, but I've been trying all night just to get these replays to work, and Wargaming will not budge. These replays the replay system is messed up right now. I don't know what's up with that, but as long as the gameplay is still fine, I can talk about the tank. Now, you can see that aiming time was not very long, and I'm going to tap this conqueror once again right in the side of the turret. The penetration does work pretty well against lightly armored tanks, as you can see. We've tapped that conqueror 3 times, picking up 875 damage, and that was within 30 seconds. So this tank does have a very nice damage per minute when it does come out. And you can see it is accurate enough. I sniped that shot right into the cupola of the VK100P. And now this Centurion tried to mess with me, and what's nice about this tank is this tank has about, well, I don't remember exactly what it was, I think it's 270 alpha, which means that you actually can do a lot more damage than most medium tanks that do push on you. Like any of the, like the Bulldog only does 220. Most of the mediums only do about 200 to 250 damage. This is a higher roll, which is nice, and the max roll on this tank is 350 alpha. And with that excellent aim time this vehicle gets, you're actually able to pull off some very nice shells and get some very nice high rolls. Now, you will see the first victim of the overpowered armor this tank has finally. This LTTB really has no chance to penetrating me whatsoever. You can see that, he's really just going to have a tough time. I think he does end up running away just because of that. And this Centurion is now trying to push on me. Don't really know why, though. We get a max roll of 350 damage, and he shoots the dirt. We then snap the LTTB, which it doesn't look like, but the replay is just really messing up right now. The LTTB dies, and we're up to 2,802 damage. Now, we've only blocked 200 damage, but we're still pretty much at about 75% health. Now, you can see that T-64, you didn't really notice it because it's very hard to tell, but we tried snapping a shell, and this tank actually is not accurate on the move. That is a little disclaimer I'll throw in. Please don't try shooting with this tank on the move. You're not going to hit anything. I had a game where I fired about 3 shells in a row on the move, and not really any of them penetrated. Now, if you look at the top of the game, your base capture is at 960, and I needed to kill this VK100P, so I loaded an APCR round and hoped for the best for it to high roll, and I did snap the shell into his lower plate. It's very hard to see that, though. And now I have this Challenger bouncing shell after shell on my upper plate. And if we clear this AT, we will win on base capture points, which does happen, and we do manage to get the whole thing up. And I managed to block 1,600 damage, which is pretty much about over my whole hit point pool, which is very impressive. We managed to stop the entire base capture of the enemy winning, and pulled out 4,000 damage with a mastery. And this is a very nice game. We still got 53,000 credits even with all the APCR fired. I really don't like to fire APCR rounds. I don't keep a lot in this tank. I think it was around 5. I'll check after this game. but 53,000 credits, and if we had premium on, we would have earned an extra, it looks like 50,000, so we could have came out 100,000 credits in this game. So it would have worked very nice. 1,347 experience. So I'd say if you do want to ace this tank, you're going to have to earn about 1,300 combat experience. And you can see 19 shells fired, which is quite a bit for a gun like this, but you can see the accuracy is not that bad, as 16 of those 19 shells actually did penetrate, which isn't bad at all. We received 9 hits, and 6 of them penetrated, but I think most of them just damaged the track, because we only took about 500, 600 damage that game, so we really performed very well. I do think that the Mod 1 is a very strong tank. Again, I would highly advise to buy it. I'll double check on how much it costs real quick. Yeah, it's only 7,500 gold. I was even off by 1,000. A T-34 costs 100 less. I would really suggest to buy this. You're not going to regret it. It outperforms every other medium tier 8 that you'll play against pretty much, as long as you use that armor frontally. Thanks for watching my video though, and I will see you in the next one.